Live. Why, hello there, beautiful chaos gremlins. This is your queen of chaos and fuckery, and welcome back to Engineering Chaos, a podcast where my co-host and I talk about life as female engineers, give career advice occasionally to those coming up behind us, and talk about corporate America as it continues to fuck us all. And well, just talk about cool engineering things because we have added that as
We've been super off topic for like a while.
yes and no, because we did say we were rebranding a little bit, but we've been talking about like engineering adjacent things, right? Like the theme parks.
I guess.
Somehow we got off on a tangent about contract law last week, but
Listen,
it
engineers,
had an engineering route.
engineers have to work at some point with lawyers. If you're working with the customers.
That's actually a funny thing that you say that. I didn't mention this last week, but a lot of my engineering friends that like didn't really want to go into like working as engineers actually ended up going to law school for patent law. A lot of the like guys and stuff I went to work or went to school with ended up going into patent law because patents are a big thing in engineering world. So if you understand the design aspect and what can be patented and what can't,
perfect.
Patent law is perfect for an engineer if you're gonna switch degrees entirely.
Exactly. Wait,
so yeah, a lot of people
411 to go to. Oh, there we go. Well, expanded.
Oh, okay. But yeah, a lot
F11.
of my engine. I was like, do you mean F11? A lot of my engineering friends actually did go into patent law, so there is a component of law. Like IP law is big to engineers too, right? Like intellectual property. Yeah. For instance, there was a grad student that I worked with in school that their grad project, a company I eventually went on and worked for, ironically enough, wanted to buy it from the grad student.
Oh.
So there was an intellectual property kind of situation of does the school own it because they were paying the grad student and the company would have to then pay the school to buy the property, right? Does the student own it because it was their design?
I'd be pissed. I would be pissed.
They offered him a job to follow it. He followed it for a while, I think, until it lost funding or whatever it was. I don't remember exactly the details, but I know he worked for that company for a while. Because my degree is so rare when people come across it, it's kind of assumed we all know each other. So when I interviewed to work for that company, even though it was several years later, they asked if I knew said grad student. Which I didn't quite know how to answer because I didn't know their feelings on said grad student.
So what did you say? No? Like, I'm sorry. Who are you talking about?
I couldn't avoid it because my senior design was tied to that project they bought.
You could be like, I recognize the name.
This was like my second job out of college. The time frames match. Like I was at the school when the company bought that project. Like I worked with that grad student all the fucking time. So it was hard to avoid.
So what did you say?
I don't remember. It was something along the lines. I was like, yeah, I did know him. I worked with him. He helped. He was like our grad student over our senior design, and I knew of what he was working on. But luckily, they didn't have any like hard, like he didn't like screw him over and sue them for his project or something like that. But it was kind of hard to avoid because again, my degree is this big. We do all know each other. Let's be real. Especially here, right? There's I think one other school in the state that has my degree. So, or at least at the time there was. I think there's more now, but when I started as a freshman, like I've said in the past, there were only 7 schools in the country that had my degree. So,
Ocean engineering.
and all of the programs are different. I learned that going to a conference in college when I met a few other ocean engineers that weren't like here in the state. All of the
You
programs
didn't
are
learn
focused on
about
different aspects
structures,
of it.
like structures in the ocean, fluid dynamics of the ocean, like,
So we did. But what I'm saying is ocean engineering is such a wide variety of different places you can go, right? You can go to like coastal reconstruction, which is a
yeah,
lot of civil engineering. It's a
right.
lot of like how do we create floating islands and things like that to help coral regeneration, and more of a mix of engineering and biology,
Yes,
because there is a lot of marine biology that goes into the coastal reconstruction aspects, and you have to deal
yes,
with things like turtle season and everything else.
yes, yes.
Um, Wildlife preserves and all of that nonsense. So you've got that side.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the naval architecture side, which is boat design, right? You can go anywhere from speedboats to cruise ships. A lot of ocean
Mm-hmm.
engineers will actually go into the cruise ship industry, especially fresh out of school,
So you got to know more
because
of the
it's a cheap
mechanical.
ride.
You got to know more mechanical
That
one.
side is a little bit more mechanical, but also, yeah, I would guess that was the more mechanical aspect for sure, because you've got a lot of 3D modeling and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
hydraulics, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got the side that I focused on, which was underwater vehicles. I liked the concept of unmanned vehicles, remotely operated vehicles, things that just ran around underwater.
So yours, okay, but without people. So okay, that's why you were more software heavy.
Because I did a lot of embedded systems, yeah.
Yep, that makes sense. But like, what about the design of the craft? Did you have to do that too?
For senior design or
Something
just in general?
in general, like based on what you learned,
Yeah,
did you learn how to design the craft too,
yeah. So
not
that's kind
just
of
the
the
code?
interesting thing about my like
Yours
I
is
said,
like more balanced.
all of the different ocean engineering programs focused on different things. Like I learned
Mm-hmm.
this might not be the case nowadays, but I met some engineers from Virginia Tech. Theirs, due to where they were, was very focused on the people they could help in their area, if that. Theirs was very focused on military based things. It was a
Oh,
program in college that shouldn't have been as focused on military support as it was, but it absolutely was.
where was
I
this
think that
again?
was
Where'd you
largely
say?
just due to where they were located.
Where were they located? You said
I mean,
you said it.
Virginia
I
Tech.
missed it.
So they're close to
Yeah.
Maryland, which is like a
Oh,
big hub.
that's why.
Maryland, Connecticut, big hub of all of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
ocean related military stuff.
Ah. Mm-hmm.
So they were
Oh,
focused a lot more on my side of things, right? The underwater vehicles, live, laugh, test, mandatory fun day. For those on TikTok, if you know mandatory fun day.
he's
Um,
he's amazing.
but they were more focused on that underwater vehicle aspect of life. They didn't have so much of the naval architecture and the civil side.
Mm.
Whereas I would say my program had more of a focus on the civil side because we were literally beachside.
Mm-hmm.
So that was very near and dear to a lot of the professors that I worked with's hearts, because of the fact that you could see our beaches eroding. You could see how construction and hurricane seasons and everything else
Ruined
came
it.
in and impacted everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it really depended where the engineering program was located, what they focused on.
That makes
But
sense. I
when
mean,
you look
you can.
at,
I feel like you could say the same thing about like UCF and um what they usually focus on.
well, I mean, you can see the
I'm not gonna
difference
say
in the
what.
engineering programs in UCF and UF, even.
UF is harder to get a job. You have to like get out of Gainesville in order
because there's
to do
nothing
any
there.
kind of internship. Yeah, there's like nothing there. That's why I was like, it's a good thing I ended up at UCF because I had way more opportunities around me, like right there.
And I've worked with a lot of people who graduated from USF, which
Oh my goodness, yeah.
I think is worse than Gainesville in the sense of there's
Yes.
nothing there.
There's nothing there and it's a shittier school. Sorry. I'm gonna offend people with that, but like I don't know, UCF is a shitty school in general,
So
but it's a
UCF
big
has
school.
its just like UCF has its specialties, right?
You can't
UCF
finish.
is well that too, but that has been known about UCF since the dawn of time,
Under
right?
construction forever is another one.
Yeah, that too. um, but UCF has its specialties into based on the businesses its
Around it.
graduates feed into, right? Hospitality
Exactly.
is a big specialty for UCF because of the theme
Yes.
parks.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Nursing is a big thing for UCF because of the mecca hospitals in Orlando.
I didn't know. I
Nursing's a
didn't know
huge thing
about
for
that one.
UCF. It's huge. Same with FSU. Florida State and UCF are two of the biggest nursing programs in in the state. um and that's largely due to the Arnold Palmer
Yep, right. Yeah.
hospital chain in Orlando. Because you've
Which
got
guess
Arnold
what?
Palmer, you've got Winnie Palmer, you've got so that's your pediatrics. That's two hospitals dedicated just to kids.
That was for me. I went there.
Plus, now you've also this isn't owned by the same entity, but now you've also got Nemours, which is
Yes.
another children's hospital in the Orlando
And now we
area,
have Advent Health everywhere.
which is owned and partnered with UF.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of Advent Health around here too. I think that, yeah, that's where I did my surgery.
So UF is known for a lot of medical research and
Mm-hmm.
like like MDs, right?
Doctors.
They're not
Yes.
they don't have as big of a nursing program, but they
Mm-mm.
have a huge MD program.
Mm-hmm.
They also have a huge veterinary program,
The huge Mother Ducker program.
which I'm genuinely surprised that UCF doesn't have a bigger like husbandry veterinary type program just purely because of the facilities around Orlando.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I guess that can kind of come out of like hospitality and things like that as well. But and then your one big law school in the state is Florida State. Florida State is known for its law school. So
That
all
and then
of
something music too. Music.
yeah, Florida State is more of a liberal arts school for sure. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but do you really need three, four, five STEM meccas in the state? No, you need some bigger powerhouses and things like law because we don't have those right now.
Yeah, no, we but I mean U of M,
U of M doesn't
what
really
are they
have a
famous for?
specialty.
Isn't that just a party school?
Yeah, I mean, really.
Isn't just
They've
like
got
a
a pretty
stupid
decent
expensive
sports
school?
program, but what good does that do you once you're graduated? I don't know.
Also, isn't there a college in Jacksonville? Or is that just the football team?
Jacksonville.
The Jaguars that I'm thinking
Jaguars is the football team. That is an
of.
NFL. That is a
As
professional
I'm
football team. Um,
sorry.
I mean, obviously, there's a lot of smaller schools like USF and uh,
Valencia.
no. I'm not talking. Okay,
Seminole
then
County.
when you get into community colleges, that's a whole different level of how many schools do we really have in this state. I'm talking of Florida Atlantic, FAU, down south
Oh,
in Boca.
there's another one in Orlando that's like super music private school, and then they also have
Well,
Full Sail.
Yeah, you've got Full Sail, you've got
which is a
Rollins.
scam. Full Sail
Full
is a
Sail is a
scam.
scam.
Don't do
Yes.
it.
You've got Rollins in the
Okay,
Orlando
that's what I was
area.
thinking of. Rollins.
You've got Embry-Riddle that's down by my alma mater
Is that
for
one
like flight
Del Del Del
stuff.
Date Deltona? Daytona? Deltona.
Embry-Riddle?
Yeah.
Pretty sure Embry-Riddle's in like Vieira,
Yep.
but
Shit.
I could be entirely wrong on that. Oh. I thought it was closer to Melbourne because I think we used
I
to
thought it was
partner
more
with
north.
Embry-Riddle. I could be wrong. As I said, I don't know. Look it up.
Yeah, I'm looking it up.
Anyways, we've just gone off on a tangent of just naming schools in the state of
Daytona.
Florida. Is it Daytona? Shit.
Yes!
Well, the more you
Dude,
know,
I
I
knew it.
guess.
I
I
knew
don't know.
it.
People
I was
always
like,
just kind of associated Embry-Riddle with tech,
Vieira.
so I just kind of assumed. I don't know. I never really looked where it was, to be honest.
Vieira?
Again, everyone put tech and Embry-Riddle like in the same bucket, so I assumed it was around us somewhere. Maybe they have a campus near us or something. I don't know. That's not the point.
Anyway.
I don't even remember where I was going before we went off on this tangent of
I don't know.
different
I'm
engineering
I'm
programs.
so sorry. This is all my fault. It's always me. I'm the
Where was
problem.
I even going?
I don't know.
Oh, because we were talking about how we kind of rebranded and
Oh yeah.
that like topics we've had conversations about do have adjacent pieces to engineering, like IP law and patent law and things like that. However, I have a bone to pick with corporate America today. It's not going to be a
Oh?
long topic by any means, but I do have a bone to pick because I realized this happening recently at work. And I don't understand why people do it. So you know how in college there's like clubs and things that you can do after classes and it's the same in high school. There's community practice, right? That you can
Yeah.
participate in.
Yeah.
Why do companies think that we're going to want to participate in these things
It's just
on
you, I
our own
promise you.
dime?
I promise you, it's just you because I know so many people out here that actually like
No,
doing
no, no.
like
Okay, I get the
coworker happy
idea.
hours and then like
No, 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 no.
barbecues.
I get that. But the ones that irk me is like, come participate in this event from 11 to 1 in the middle of your workday, and we're not going to allow you to charge for it.
Oh yeah, they had that too. They had a car show.
Like,
But 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 my
why am I going to
my
waste
yeah,
3 hours of my day when I already work 10 at minimum, right? Like, for my situation where I'm in a 410, it's 10 hours
mhm.
minimum each day. Why am I going to waste 3 hours of my day to go play trivia with people in the
Fuck if
middle
I
of
know.
my workday?
Fuck if I know.
It's one thing to go like to a happy hour or something like that. I don't like it, but I've never lived close enough to the places I work that going to a happy hour is worth it. That's part of the reason I don't do happy hours and things like that.
No,
I've
that
always
just
had an
seems dangerous.
obnoxious drive.
Yeah, that
So
th- that
I t-
road is no joke.
I understand after hours events. I do. I understand that people like that stuff.
Okay,
I don't understand like
the dumb ones.
community, like, why do we have clubs at work? It doesn't make sense to me. I
Are you
also don't
talking
know.
about the business resource group?
I'm talking more
Because
like
like we
there's
have like a
intramural sports at work
oh
that
yeah
you
yeah
can
yeah
sign
yeah.
up for.
There's like
And
a golf club.
there's like a
I'm
scuba
like
club, I think, too. And I'm just like, what?
what?
Are we still in college? I'm very
There's a ski
confused by
club. There's this
this.
ski club here.
And
Yeah,
I
honestly,
understand for junior engineers or like people who are new to the area that want to like get together with people and like meet new
people
people and
who
things like
like
that. I
people,
get it.
people who like
But
people and they actually do stuff outside.
sometimes these people will get paid to plan these events that then the people attending don't get paid to attend in the middle of their workday. And I'm like, tell
I
me
didn't
how that
know
makes
that.
fucking sense.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that manager that we used to have, right? He used to put on a bunch of events for the junior engineers.
Which one?
He had the one that I hated that hated me. Um the one at the place that I work at now. So
Sorry.
he used to like he started producing a podcast at one point.
Ew.
And
Oh my god, I remember this.
people would get paid to do things like write newsletters as engineers. And it's just and like
I'm sure there's a
the
limit. There's a limit. But like,
they still get paid to do extracurricular activities, in my opinion. So the people get paid to put them on, right? To like plan
move
them
them,
and put them on
move them to
and be
like
a part
human
of the
resources or
little
something like
committee.
else.
They
Why
get
are
to
they even engineers?
well, the thing is like, right? At a large company, human resources is literally just there to like you have what, probably 100 to 200 people per human resources human.
Yeah, but hold on. There's like other jobs that aren't human resources. They're called something in corporate America, but I don't remember. But they're like essentially the planners of events,
Yes.
event planners for the
Yes,
company.
but okay, so again, with the large company aspect, each individual team has its own build up for like, and that's where some of these events end up coming is the team will create this little committee to plan these events for different things and I'm like, why?
Is it just because they get a charge number for it so that they can like not have to do
But
work? Because that's a
that's my
strategy.
point. That's my
That's a
point. Is
strategy.
they will get
They're hacking the system. You
a charge or funding allocated to them to go plan it all. But then if you want to attend as an employee, you're attending on your own dime. So they've
Yeah.
planned this event that a large majority of people probably aren't going to want to attend because they have to do it on their own time and therefore would have to cut an hour to 3 hours out of their day that they then have to make up later. It doesn't make sense.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to
And
tell
I
you.
would say this was just a weird thing of working for like a very large corporation, but I saw it at smaller companies too. And it never made any fucking sense to me.
Morale?
But again, if you want to like boost morale, have some like
Give us
overhead
money?
funding to
Give
make
us
it
money.
worthwhile, or put it after hours. Don't put it in the middle of the workday. Like I
They
am
don't always put it in the middle of the workday though.
no, not always, but like I am seeing the reason I said I have a bone to pick with this is because I'm seeing an increase of these middle of the workday. We're trying to pump everybody up for like every holiday known to man. They do something. There's one of these in the middle of the workday events. And I don't
Is it
know
because
if
they
it's
don't want
like
to like
a
rent out facilities or like other places, so they just do it on campus?
I don't know. I don't know if it's like a post COVID we're trying to create a culture again kind of
A
thing.
cult, a culture.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what it is, but I'm seeing an increase of them specifically being during the workday. And
Trying to
uh,
brainwash us.
it makes my head hurt also because they are repeatedly saying, hey, we're cutting your training hours, we're cutting our training hours, which is an overhead budget, just like
Right.
any of these committees or anything like that would be. And I'm like, you can produce a fucking podcast, but you can't afford to give me the amount of training I need to get a certification I want that is useful to my job? Like, what? Make it
This
make
is
sense.
this is suspicious. You know, I feel like is this strategy that the older generation's doing and the younger generation, they're like, you know, maybe if we just stunt them a little, they won't get smarter than us because we're already smarter than
I just don't understand. Or maybe it's like a failed attempt at connecting with the younger generation. That's why they're
them. Oh,
producing
yikes.
podcasts or something. I don't know, but
I think it's that. That's way more cringe, and that's accurate.
I just that's my bone to pick with corporate America this week because I see an increase of them and I'm like, "Oh, that sounds cool. Maybe like I'll attend virtually or something." Cuz like sometimes there are little meetings like that that you can attend virtually, and if they're on your
Hmm.
own time, I'm just throwing a window up on the side and I'm still working while I'm listening to it, right?
Hmm.
That way I'm not really on my own time. I'm just listening in on it.
Yeah, it's like a
But
podcast.
some is like come play cornhole with us or go on an Easter egg hunt throughout the facility, and I'm like, what? Why? Why? Why are we doing this?
No
It just
thanks.
doesn't make sense.
No thank you.
And I don't know. I've always been kind of weird about the clubs and the intramural sports and stuff like that because I don't feel like that's something a work facility should be hosting. Like, it's one thing if like you
It
join
should
a
be like
local
more
running club or something.
community.
Like,
Do you think it should be more community? Well, they're turning corporate America into community.
yeah,
It's a
I think
cult.
that's my
Sure,
problem.
it's a cult.
I
Sure,
I am one of those people that I want to go in, I want to do my job, and I want
and then
to
leave.
leave. I don't
Hmm.
work like I don't live for work. I work to live. Like, let's
Correct.
be 100% real here. And uh, honestly, a lot of these things are part of the reason why my push to get out of this corporate nightmare has become stronger and stronger in recent years. A lot of the things that we've talked about on the podcast for sure have been a big push, but I don't fit the type of personality that puts up with that shit. Like, I just don't. I think it's
Mm-mm.
stupid. And
Mm-mm.
I don't even want to go get lunch with you if I'm on the facility. Like, I want to be by myself. And
That's what I
there's
hated the most was like getting lunch. Like, oh, let's meet up for lunch. I'm like, I don't want to. I want to work and eat lunch. I don't want to. No thanks.
yeah. Well, and then you've got people on the opposite end of the spectrum, right? There's this story that's going around of the lady who died at her desk at a Wells Fargo office and was there for 4 days before anyone found her.
What? How? Was it
Yeah.
over the weekend?
No. Just no one
Oh my
stopped
God.
by. They noticed a smell and they
What?
chopped it up to
On the
bad
fourth
sewer.
day? On the fourth day.
Yeah.
That's
She was there
pathetic.
for 4 days dead before anyone found her.
Do you know how pathetic that is?
And I think that's kind of it's the hypocrisy,
Disappointing.
right? They create all these events and say we want to be one big happy family, but then shit like that happens. Like, obviously you don't care about your workers, right? You don't care about return to office, you care about controlling people, because if you cared about actually creating community and being together, someone wouldn't have been at their desk for 4 days before someone found them dead, right?
So how did
The
they die?
only reason they found her wasn't even because of the smell or anything like that. They noticed she had been clocked in for 4 days. That is the only reason they even found her at 4 days, because they went to check as to why she had been clocked in for 4 days and never clocked out.
And then when they saw a rotting body, a dead rotting body, they're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Um,
Four
Wait, how did
days.
she die? Were they able to determine that? Because like
Last I
that's a
saw, they
lot of
hadn't released that information yet, but
okay.
I don't know. By the
Because
time this
that's
episode releases, there could be an update, and I'm going to be putting it in the little ether over here. But as of time of recording, they hadn't released the information of how she died, but that she was there for 4 days in her cube, and no one noticed. Which is just wild. but again, this is it's the hypocrisy that bothers me the most, right? Like as a fitness coach, I care about like if my client doesn't message me for a few days, I'm like, "Hey, what's up? What's going on?" Like if
Are
they're
you
not
alive?
like I'm trying to figure out, fuck, if my husband's not home by a certain time, I'm like, "You alive or you dead on the side of the road?" Like how do you
Yeah.
go 4 days without anyone asking? Like
Mm-hmm.
how
Oh,
deep
even
in
my
the pit?
therapist was like over the weekend, like I forgot one of our sessions, and she was like contacting me. She's like, "Are you alive?" I'm like,
Yeah,
"Okay."
like it's sad, don't get me wrong, especially because there apparently wasn't any like family or anything asking either. But to be fair to that side, right, I go months without talking to people I'm related to.
That's
Like
true.
that is not unheard of in my world. I have what I have deemed people object permanence.
Oh yeah. So my parents, sometimes we'll talk daily. My mom and I, dad and I probably talk like twice a month for 2 seconds. Um,
If it weren't for the fact that I
I
just
don't.
built a PC, it probably would be close to 6 months since I talked to my father. But my
You're
father is the guru when it comes to Windows installs and everything else.
right.
So I called him to help me figure out
Please,
what the hell was going on
please,
with my PC.
dad, please help me. Yes.
I also was trying to get a free copy of Windows because I know he always has it, but I ended up just buying it because I didn't want to call him just for that.
Yeah. I was going somewhere with that, and then I forgot.
People object permanence, right? My family
Yes.
not questioning that I don't respond to them for
Oh
four
yeah, I could go
days.
miss. I could go missing, and then like it'll be like 4 days later. I'll
If
be
I
like,
wasn't married, the rest of my family going 4 days without hearing from the rest of my family wouldn't be abnormal, right? But the fact like I have to come home to someone, my husband would notice if I was mysteriously gone for 4 days.
this is true. My poor
Uh,
cats wouldn't know what to do. They'd eat the snake.
my
My poor.
husband would notice if I was gone for like 12 hours because we have cameras. So if my vehicle wasn't in our driveway, he'd be
You're
like,
not
"What the
home,
fuck?
honey.
Where is she?"
Where are you?
He doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, like he doesn't stalk our cameras, but like if
No.
he gets a notification that I went and checked the mail, he'd be like, "Who's at the house?" And I'm like, "No one. I just went and checked the mail." uh, because he gets the notifications and he gets curious, but sometimes it's just a bug.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
But that's kind of like my bone. Like, don't claim you want to be this big happy family and set up all these events and things like that if you could literally let someone rot at their desk for 4 days. Like, I'm not saying that who we work for would let that happen, but it's not unrealistic.
It's not, to be honest. I feel like it could happen.
I definitely feel like it could, especially in like the post-COVID world where not everyone's in all the time and
Mm-hmm.
you're not expecting like from if I was went in today and then like passed away at my desk today, no one would freaking know because I'm
No.
not normally there, so they wouldn't know to look for me, right? And I don't
No.
generally tell people when I go in either,
Mm-hmm.
if I choose to, being the key word there.
Yes.
There were times when at the place that we worked at together, there were times that I literally slipped in and slipped out without anyone seeing me.
Yes. Yes. I love those days. My favorite days. And no one knew I was there.
So it's not unrealistic, especially with like that scenario where I had a door. I was behind the door all the time because I don't like people. So, like, I'm not asking my coworkers to be my best friends because I don't like people. So, I'm not complaining that people don't talk to me. Like, I would be the person that gets found 4 days later because I don't like people. And I know that about myself.
Yeah.
I don't like communicating with people in person. I don't like, I'm weird about that. Like, I don't mind text and IMs and things like that. I loathe talking to you in person. I think that's because it usually comes with small talk that I don't want to have.
Well,
Like,
not to me. Like, not me. You're not. Not like
Yes,
that.
but
But
we started talking all the time because you were constantly IMing me for help, which I'm not complaining about. I will always respond to people asking me for help, right? Like I feel like that's just a part of my job in certain areas of my job.
I still
Um,
do.
yeah, I was like, we don't even
All the
work
damn
together
time.
anymore, and you still IM me. Like, how? Fact check me on this. How do you guys do this? So like, I still respond to that stuff, right? But if that never lifts off past that type of relationship, I really don't give a shit when it comes to coworkers, right?
But it did
My
because I
circle
made it
is very, very
happen.
small, and I keep it that way for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I'd also rather, like, right? One of the things I plan on putting out on TikTok is like 3 major reasons why this push is more important to me now than it ever has been. And one of those reasons is because the relationships I've built with people in both the gaming space and in the fitness space are more genuine than any relationship I have ever built in corporate space.
Well, that's because they know how to be human. They like interact with people way more often and not in like a businessy,
I mean, gamers are
corporate.
a little bit different. Most of
Okay,
us
well,
are just loners in
awkward.
our offices, but somehow
That's
we
fine too.
create Twitch is Twitch, right? It is a platform that is annoying the shit out of me right now. It might
Oh,
not
okay.
be my sole platform in the future. I don't know. But Twitch is a business, and I understand that they're a business, but I will give credit where credit is due. They found a way to give gamers a community.
Mm-hmm.
And people can say what they want about streamers and how it's just a lazy job and how all they do is play video games all day. There's a lot that goes into building a stream. There's a fuck ton. Like, without building a full ass business behind it, building a stream is hard. To get to the level of viewership that is required to do something like get bigger than a 50-50 split with Twitch, right?
Right.
Being a Twitch partner, you can kind of negotiate your contract to be more than 50-50. A lot of Twitch partners are 70-30 on their payouts, but you have to have a ton of check marks before you can get that official official check mark on Twitch as a
Uh-huh.
Twitch partner, right? So, and they still are at this moment the better platform for live communities, right? YouTube live content is weird. Realistically,
It's okay.
I I very rarely watch live content on YouTube.
It's really only H3.
Even then, they have their own controversy going on right now, and following that saga is just interesting.
Wait, hold
Um,
on. What is it? I need to know. I've been watching it, but I didn't know there was a controversy.
I mean, it's
I know
their
with
own
the whole
family
button
drama.
thing? That's so
No,
stupid.
it's Ethan calling out his brother-in-law live,
Oh, that one.
who is
Yeah.
also married to Trisha Paytas, who had a
Yeah.
podcast with Ethan called Frenemies
Right.
that got canceled
Yes.
over their family drama.
Yes. Yes.
And then on top of that, another YouTube commentator got involved in the conversation, who was involved or was the main kind of component to the
Howie
Colleen
Mandel.
saga.
Oh no, never mind.
No, Adam McIntyre, like, he's a drama channel.
Mm-hmm.
He was doing his job and commentating on the drama that is the Ethan Trisha saga that keeps going on.
Mm-hmm.
And people can call him a clout goblin all he wants, but Ethan got real pissed off at the commentary, and I guess 3 years ago, in the original wake of Colleen drama, Ethan's mom reached out to Adam, and so like Ethan's mom is involved. And Ethan is like went off on a rampage and called Adam like a cloud goblin and a bunch of different names that, but at the same time, H3 has elevated Adam's platform on multiple occasions. So a lot of people are like, do you hate him? Do you love him? What's the deal here? Why do you think he's a clout goblin? It's a whole big thing. It is a very long saga that would require an episode in and of itself to deep dive into. But basically, Ethan like called his mom live and was like trying to coerce her, and she just didn't give a shit. She's like, "No, I didn't think it was weird. Y'all were the ones that told me it was weird." Um, I it was a whole big thing, but I guess Ethan lost his shit, called out Moses for calling his mom, and now everyone's calling Ethan out for calling his mom. It's a whole big thing. But Ethan seems to be having a lot of L takes lately, so H3 is getting a lot of heat.
L take.
Um, not popular takes, I guess, on certain things, like with the whole Brooke Schofield scenario with the canceled podcast with her and Tana Mongeau. How do you say that last name? Anyways, with her and Tana,
Mongo.
um,
I don't know.
there was a whole saga where, like, after
Tana.
Brooke's big saga about Clinton Kane, people went and dug into Brooke's history, and Brooke was apparently very MAGA, very racist back in her teenage years. So people found all of her tweets and things like that and started canceling her for being racist, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and Ethan was trying to give Brooke a lot of grace, but didn't want to give 18-year-old Adam any grace for anything he may have done that was weird on the internet at 18, and it's a whole big thing. But people didn't like his take on the Brooke Schofield thing because they're like, she was grown. Yes, she grew up in a very conservative household, but she was grown enough to have her own opinions and still chose to tweet those things, kind of thing.
What age?
I think she was like 16 to 20. And like
I
she
wouldn't.
tweeted about how she was faking liberal views to get better grades in college and shit like that.
I feel like that's just again.
You do dumb shit on the internet in those
You,
ages.
you
I feel like
yeah. Like
anything that's posted is one of those scenarios in which that should be erased from your internet profile. The H3 saga is a whole different thing, but I don't watch a lot of live content on YouTube. Apparently you can stream directly to YouTube Shorts now, which
what?
I might play around with now that I've already got a dual stream setup going.
But how
Twitch
short
changed.
is it?
No, like you just stream to vertical rather than streaming to landscape.
Oh, okay, but it's not a short.
So it'd be like the same format as if I'm
It's
streaming to
TikTok.
TikTok,
Yeah,
but
got it.
instead we're streaming to the YouTube Shorts platform. And people are saying
Got it.
discoverability is better streaming to Shorts rather than streaming to the main platform because
Mm-hmm.
discoverability on Shorts in general is better.
Yeah, they've been
So
a they've been doing a good job about pushing that out.
Shorts is weird. The algorithm with Shorts is very fucking weird, and I will never figure it out. I will have posts have 0 views for like 2 days and then blow up overnight randomly. I don't understand that algorithm specifically. And it seems like just because I subscribe to myself, I have 3 different channels, right? I have this one, I have my cosplay one, and I have my fitness gaming one that is turning into more gaming because YouTube is liking gaming better.
Mm-hmm.
Which if I just start using more of my streams, anyways, that's a whole different content strategy thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um anyways, because I subscribe to myself, I'm noticing that YouTube doesn't give people with like their notifications on a notification about a new short being posted until like 2 days later. I will get notifications about a short I posted the day before. It's very weird.
That is weird.
On top of the fact that YouTube frequently unsubscribes people randomly for no reason. Uh, it's one of those now that Twitch has changed its terms of service that you can multi-stream to YouTube. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people are just doing both to try and figure out what works. because nothing seems to be working right now. But on top of that, Twitch has changed their mobile platform to be more like TikTok. So when
Okay.
you're on Twitch's mobile platform, you can literally like scroll through streams, which is
Oh,
interesting. In
okay.
theory, it should help discoverability, but I don't know that it actually does. Because on top of that, they have made it more expensive to subscribe to people, or they will be in the future. I don't think it's in effect yet. Um, to subscribe to people via the mobile app versus desktop, which makes no sense to me why that matters.
I'm confused.
I don't know why they made that decision. It doesn't make sense to me. But
I don't. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me either.
I'm
No idea.
thinking maybe because the iOS owners, right? Like Apple or Android have some sort of cut to mobile subscriptions. Because right, if you're subscribing through an app, at least on an Apple device, it just goes to your Apple subscriptions. Like you can cancel it via like your settings in your phone. You don't have to go to Twitch and cancel it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking it might have to do with something like processing fees that way, where whoever's hosting the app has some sort of cut, whereas on the desktop it's straight Twitch versus the mediary with the app.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I can think of to drive a cost difference for the same product between desktop and mobile. That's the only thing
Mm-hmm.
I can think of. But I'm not CEOs of Twitch, so.
Damn it.
But going back to what I was saying about work, I am very much so not a social creature. And remote to like not remote to office, return to office is one of those scenarios that is an absolute no for me at this point.
Pain.
I can't do it.
Mm-mm.
However, I might be finally fixing my I'm bored as shit scenario without losing my full-time remote.
Question mark?
It's not official yet. I am talking to them the Monday after we record this, so I will have talked to them by the time this goes live. But I may be replacing a friend of mine on a program that has been full-time remote since its inception, so it never plans on changing that. As a architecture lead.
Ooh.
That is very software focused.
Hell yeah.
So, and I've been chasing this group for 3 years now. So, the fact that I'm finally getting it in with them, they are one of those people, they are one of those groups, and I'm sure every company has them, right? I don't want to call
Everyone
it a
wants
good
to be
old
on it.
boys club
Mm-hmm.
because it's not, but they're one of those people that they don't talk to people outside the club kind of thing.
Like they're very exclusive.
Yeah, they're also very sought after because of the full-time remote thing. So when they do have openings, they want to fill them quickly. So putting out official positions and things like that is just not at the speed that they're running. They would rather just move people around that already exist within the company.
Oh yeah.
They are very much so one of those
Like
people that
network focused.
if you don't already know someone on the inside, you're never going to know that they opened up a position.
Mm-hmm.
So as of Monday, I will know officially if that is becoming my thing. So, which it should be, because in the past, when you just move around to different groups within the location that I work for,
Mm-hmm.
you don't really interview for positions unless you're being promoted or it's
Right.
like a
It's
manager
more just like a
position or
meet and
something.
greet.
Yeah.
Like a meet and greet.
Yeah. To make sure
Um,
everything aligns, you know what you're going to be doing, you're okay with what you're going to be doing, that kind of thing.
yeah. Hey, congratulations when you get there, because you're getting it. When you get there, remember me.
have to help our other friend out because that's part of this scenario,
Help
right?
help her out first.
I've got now my position would have to be filled, and because the team that I currently am working for is very uh architect dumb, for lack of a better way of putting it, in order for them to hire someone, they would need my help to know that they can actually do the job. So if I can pull some strings to do an external hire for my replacement, that would be ideal. Because then I can
You know
pull
someone.
her back into the fold.
Yeah.
Hopefully. I'm not guaranteeing any strings pulled, but if things go ideally, that's what it would be. I would move over there. I would pull her back in as my replacement,
Mhm.
train her up, obviously, and
Mhm.
then go to the full-time remote gig, which will make me feel better because then I will have an official full-time remote gig again. And it's like
Yay.
official, the whole team is
Official.
full-time remote.
Yeah, permanently.
Because yes, I've had that status prior, but I was the only one with that status, and it made me very uncomfortable. And it's the same kind of scenario that I have right now, right? I don't have the status, which makes me uncomfortable if I need to, move states in 2 weeks for a
Yeah,
month, which is
exactly.
entirely possible in the reality of my world right now.
Mhm.
Moving for a month, shit, it came up this weekend of we can make some good money if we move to California for a month. So, like, the reality of this shit happening is very high at this point, and I need to be mobile. I need to be able to keep paying our bills, but be mobile. So,
Yeah.
the opportunity arises, and I'm hopefully going to take it. But I also don't want to leave my current team hanging because they've been nothing but good to me. I'm just bored as shit.
Oh.
I'm just bored.
Oh.
It's a very hardware focused program, and hardware is not interesting to me.
Excuse
It's
you.
just not. It's so
Excuse you.
boring. It's just dumb pieces of metal.
Excuse you.
I'm also having a lot of issues trying to get integrated with this team. It's
Is is it a lot
they
of electrical mechanical or is it?
it's a lot of electrical. So the product itself is not that complicated, which I think is
Yeah.
part of my issue. I'm so used to working on super complicated products that something this dumb is
You're like,
just uh okay, I don't feel like I'm doing anything useful here. But
yeah.
when I say I'm having issues getting integrated with them, it's more of they are very used to doing things in the way of old,
Oh no.
and they
Oh
want
no.
to just feed me info after the fact and say go update, rather
Oh
than have
no.
me involved from the start to make sure that I am aware of what's going on and that it works from an architecture perspective and everything else.
Oh, they're keeping you in the background. That's bad.
So
That's
even though
sad.
and even in situations, right, something dumb, putting out a document, the way it's supposed to go is it goes into the tool, any minor updates get made, and then we export out of the tool, and then it gets released, right?
Mhm.
That's how it's been, and that's how it is with the new tool that's doing it too. This team, despite my pleading, because they're doing it the hard way, in my opinion, refuses to do it that way.
Mhm.
They didn't like the formatting of the export, even though A, that can be updated, and B, takes 5 minutes to fix after the fact. If you really want some very specific highlighting or something in your Word document, it's not that
Mhm.
hard to go fix. It takes less time to me than the way they're doing it. But they didn't like the
Manually.
formatting of the document, even though the formatting of the document is not the right format, in my opinion. Well, no, it's not
Uh-huh.
in my opinion. We have specific guidelines that tell us what format to use per our
Yes.
business grouping, right?
Yes.
So the lead of that area basically said, no, I don't like it. I'm not going to do it that way. Instead of giving me what he wanted to fix about the product that came out of my tool. He just said he wasn't going to do it.
Bruh.
So there's a lot of that that's frustrating me, like the fact that they will do things that very much so should be built inside of the tool that we're using in Visio. And then release the document that way instead of having me put it in the tool the appropriate way with the appropriate connections and everything else. So it's like they want their cake and eat it too. They want to have the new things without actually changing the way they do things. And that's kind of
This
the
is
frustrating
sounding
thing
like
for
our
me.
old program.
Yes and
Maybe
no. They're a
wrong.
little bit more accepting. They're no, a little bit. A lot
Our
more
old
accepting.
our old program, yes.
No. This
Oh.
program is a lot more accepting. Like they're very open to ideas when I broach them and things like that. My issue is more
Oh.
I'm not involved in the conversation to even broach the idea until
So
it's
it's
way too late.
bitch. You
Yeah.
pissed. Have you
Like
asked?
the document is being released. Well, yeah, I did ask, and then I got added to a bunch of meetings that don't really help me, but like they help me see a bigger picture to some extent.
Mm-hmm.
But I should have been added to those 6 months ago
Yeah.
and not a month before our big design review. Because
Oh, love
now I'm
that.
having to go back and fix a lot of stuff that I technically don't have the funding to be fixing because I was working on those tasks months ago.
Mm.
Um, to prepare for the design review because the design team didn't bother to keep me involved. So it's it's one of those, I'm getting really frustrated with that scenario. On top of feeling like I'm just doing more of the same, I don't feel like I'm learning anything new to be able to help
Mm-hmm.
my portfolio to get the certification. And
Right.
that's my big kicker right now. Is if I really want to go after that certification, which I'm kind of teeter-tottering on, like, do I want to go through all the effort if I know I'm trying to get out anyway?
Right.
And a lot of the big wigs aren't certified anymore. Like they're not pushing that program anymore,
No.
which is curious to me as to why that is. The prestige has left, and that's why I'm kind of like, do I care? If it's not prestigious anymore, do I care on doing it? Because originally it was pitched as something that would help. It would
That
give
just
you more
is
money,
that just at your business area? Because
possibly.
here, because at like my business area, it's like super like
Yeah, because there's
demanding.
not as many there. There's like one or two there, whereas most of
Oh,
the
there's a
ones that
demand.
are, yes, most of the ones that
Got it.
are certified work for my area.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I think because my area is first to adopt, they don't care because they just need people to do it. I see. New tattoo. I want new tattoo, but my tattoo artist is, well, to our conversation before we get online, a little manic right now. And I don't want manic tattoo artists doing my tattoos.
I feel like that would be good. Like it
Not
would
when
turn
she's
out
doing them
really
out of her garage. No, thank you.
fair.
I will wait till she's in a shop again and stable and not
Isn't
posting
that
crazy shit
illegal?
online. Not
Isn't that illegal?
necessarily. As long as you're following safety protocol, you can do it from wherever you want.
Okay.
I mean, I think there's like traveling. Yeah, there's people that do like tattoos at weddings and shit. And they're like tattoo conventions that people will tattoo at. So as long as you're
Yeah, I
following
know
like the
that.
health and safety protocol, you
Yeah.
can do it from wherever. It's more about don't get people infected, follow the like don't reuse needles, that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you I mean people technically maybe not a bar. You'd have to have a liquor license for that. But like you can turn your garage into a business all day, any day. Like you can turn a storage shed into a
Oh,
business
I know
if
the
you really
storage
want to.
shed. I know there's like some laws in different states where it's like it has to be a separate entity from the home.
So that's more for tax purposes than anything, right? So when you have an LLC, you can write off your office space. So it's a lot easier if your office space is detached from the home when you're working from home, because then you know the exact square footage that you're using for business rather than business and personal.
Okay.
You might be right, and there might be states where it's required to be that way, but I know from a tax perspective, it is preferred that you have some sort of detached space.
Mm-hmm.
That way, you can write off all of your bills easy squeezy and not
Yeah.
have to worry about like what time am I using it for personal, what time am I using it for business. Like for
The
me right
percentage and then
now,
yeah.
right, my PC is technically a business write-off for several reasons, but how often do I use it for personal reasons would negate if I could really write it off.
Yes.
It's the same like when I buy video games. Do I play it on stream? If so, yes, it's a write off. If I don't ever play it on stream and I bought it, then I can't use it as a write off.
Yeah, makes sense.
Um, this software that we're recording on,
Mm-hmm.
write off
Yes.
because we use it for a business. My mic, the mics I just bought,
Yes.
all write offs, technically speaking, because they're used for my business.
Mm-hmm.
So they're usually that's why they want it to be detached, is just from a write-off perspective, because you can write off like percentages of your internet bill and your electric bill and things like that because you are using it as a business
Working space.
location.
Oh, nice.
Again, too many random things live in my brain. Tax law.
Sorry.
Well, it's because my business, like from a what is a write off, is really complicated, right? I
Yeah.
was really looking into when I was trying to build the shed, can I call it a tax write off?
What was the answer?
Kind of. The building of it, no, but the use of it, yes. It was really weird. Like I could do some
Okay.
of it. Like you can't call it a tax write off, right? If I was building it with business funds, that's fine, but I couldn't write it off.
Yeah.
It's the same thing when I go to buy land, right? One of the things that I've talked about is something my husband and I want to do is we want to buy a big ass property and build on it. That's like the next time we move will be because we built the dream out on a giant ass property.
And you're gonna
So
start a cult, and I'm gonna go join you.
I'm not going to start a cult, but one of the things that has been floated to me to help with business taxes and everything else is buying that property through my business rather than as like a personal location, using the
Mm-hmm.
funds for my business to buy that property. So that when it comes to how much I owe on taxes, because that was a business expense, it's a tax loophole, basically.
Okay.
I can buy the land without having to classify it as commercial property as
Right.
my business. So,
Kind of cool.
yeah. I mean, the first thing that's going to get built out there is my husband's go-kart track, which is basically a business for him because he's sponsored and shit now.
So,
And my
by
gym.
who?
So,
What is he? Who is he sponsored by?
there's a couple racing places that are sending him free. Like, he just got a free helmet. This thing's like $400 and they send it to him for free.
Oh my God.
This man
Is
is
he on like?
stupidly
Is he?
good at random shit.
Is he like? How is he advertising himself?
He's not. It's just purely the times he puts up when he races. So the way like go-karting works, random side tangent, is they're like not a federation, but like a group, a community or whatever, that when he does a specific race at a specific location, the times he posted at that race then gets posted across the state and ranked against all of these other locations as well. So when he races at these smaller little go-kart tracks, like there's one in a place called Bushnell that he races at a lot, and there's another one in Orlando called OKC that he races at a lot. When he does like official races for those locations, which he has done, the times he posted will get sent out to everybody, right? You've got Formula
I think I
1.
went to OKC once. Is that the one in like Kissimmee, like South Orlando?
Maybe. I kind of remember it being closer to I Drive. I don't, I've only been there like twice,
Well,
and it's kind of in the middle
okay.
of nowhere.
Okay.
Anyways, um when he does official races, so like their league nights and things like that, he stumbled accidentally into doing a league night at OKC. We happened to show up on their league night. And he's like, "Yeah, whatever, I'll race it. Sure. I'm here. Might as well." Um so his league night times from the K1 group, that is a countrywide situation that he gets ranked against all the other racers for electric
Mhm.
carts.
Mhm.
Bushnell and OKC are gas carts. So any races he's done at those two places, his times will get posted. And even just like practice, like daily rental kind of times will get posted sometimes. So it doesn't have to be like official races. But he's done a few at all of these different locations, and scouts will look at these things, sponsorships will look at these things and see where is this person ranked, is he worth like trying to put our name out there on him, like how often is he racing, things like that. So some local race gear places have been sending him
Hey,
stuff.
that's smart. That's
So
cool.
it's the same thing with like people constantly tagging Alani. People do it because then they can get added to their PR list. They may not be sponsored by Alani because Alani really only sponsors like college athletes. Like
Yeah.
their thing is college girls, which is funny to me. Um, I totally would have done it if Alani existed when I was in college because I was their brand for sure. Uh,
We're
anyways,
still their brand, I feel like.
we still are, but again, I
They need
have,
to
I'm
cater
looking
to
over to
us.
the side right now because I have a list of sponsorships and partnerships I want. As we grow these little things, some might just be for me, and then others might be for the podcast.
Yeah.
So it's a thing. I'm focusing on things right now in an extreme way. um,
Guys, she's manic.
I'm not manic. That's the thing, is I'm not manic right now. I just
Yeah.
have the capability to finally do all the things I want, right? Because I now have my
Because
Mac
she's
and my PC.
medicated.
Yes and no, because I'm not medicated all the time, but it's
No,
more
no,
I
no.
have the setup I want, right?
That too.
I redid
Yeah.
my office. So that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of happy space.
The
I have
feng
my
shui is.
whiteboard. I have my Mac and my PC now. So I can have two episodes rendering at the same time
A
if I really wanted to. Because I've learned this week that the PC is capable of handling me
parallel
streaming,
processing.
and I wouldn't have a render running at the same time I'm streaming, but I can at least keep the app open without
Wow.
killing my PC. Because the problem with the render is it
Not the
takes up a
same
lot
thing.
of memory. So I would
Yes,
have
it
to get
does.
some more RAM in order to run both simultaneously if I'm multi streaming as well as trying to render.
How much RAM do you have now?
64 gigs.
8? Oh, RAM. What am I thinking?
I have a 2 terabyte like SSD, but it's an older. I realized this when I put it in. It's an older SSD. It's not the latest speed. So I might upgrade that and add another like terabyte or something on the faster ones, the newer ones.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have 64 gigs of RAM.
Question.
Yes.
Laptops. How much
What about
do
them?
they go up? How much do they go up to?
Depends on what you want. And depends on what you want to do with it, I should say.
I want to see the
Because
specs of mine.
from a general, oh, with like RAM and stuff, usually they're only like 8 or 16 gigs. They're not anything massive.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, that's why my brain was thinking, oh, just it's only 8. But then you said
No, no, no.
64, and I was like,
I have 64 because I run a gaming PC.
yeah, right, right,
64 is
right. You
kind of
have a
like bare minimum for a gaming
standard.
PC. Well,
Yeah.
no, 32 is bare minimum for a gaming PC, but I got 64 because, but I have up to 4 slots in my PC setup in my
which is
motherboard.
great.
So I can get another 64 gigs going
Mm-hmm.
on my computer if I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I might have to get some more fans if I do that.
Yes.
But well, no, I wouldn't have to get more fans because the way I built my PC, my case had a 3-fan setup. My cooler for my CPU also came with 3 fans. So I have a total of 6 fans I can mount. I only have 3 mounted right now.
Oh, yeah. Then you're fine. You just
Yeah.
add to it.
I just add it in if I needed to. But right now my temperatures are running just fine, so I'm not too worried about it.
Mm.
If I got a little bit more, I would put probably 1 fan specifically on the RAM just to cool it. Um, just for purposes because my graphics card has its own fans. So I don't necessarily need to point something directly at that because when it's running,
Nice.
it's running well. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't often tax it enough to make it run unless I'm playing newer games with heavier graphics.
Your liquid cooling doesn't go through your graphics card.
No, my liquid cooler is just for my CPU. It's not
Okay.
for my graphics card.
Trying to remember about like the one time my ex was building his PC because he was like hand doing the water cooling, like bending his own. I'm trying to think like I think it went
I
through
also
his
have an all-in-one
CPU
cooler.
and
So
graphics card.
I have an all-in-one cooler for my CPU, and then my graphics card has its own internal stuff. So
Okay.
if I wanted to go like full, I was feeling lazy. I wanted a water cooler, but I didn't want to like run all the water cooling. Like I didn't want to deal with coolant or anything like that. So I just kind of did with all-in-one that is compatible
You
with
still
my
have to
case and everything else.
you you still have to like replace the water once a year.
Not with this one.
No?
Yep. It's all internal. I didn't even have to put water in it.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I love my little cooler. Anyways, now that we're off, but I have the capability to do everything I want, right? Mac, I can do all my creative stuff because it absolutely handles better on my Mac, I have learned.
Mm.
But while the beast that is processing these episodes is running, I can also work on my other YouTube videos that are less taxing on my
Mhm.
on my PC. Because I have learned this week, because this last week's episode will be the first episode that I've had both the PC and the Mac for. So I tried to do it on the PC to see if it was any quicker. It wasn't, and it crashed more often.
Okay.
So I'm just going to continue to do this episode on the Mac because DaVinci and PC, I don't know what it is. It just didn't want to work properly. So
Fuck. Okay.
it wasn't any quicker either. I found the real strategy is just cutting the longer segments into really small segments. So it only takes like an hour to render each piece
Mhm.
rather than trying to let it run like a 9-hour render.
Yikes. Yeah.
So I'm having a bit more luck with it. I don't, there's some weird bug with DaVinci that the cache just disappears. I thought it was because I was trying to render to a USB before, but I'm doing it direct to my hard drive on the PC and it's still doing the same thing it was doing on my Mac, where it'll tell me that my hard drive's offline when it's not.
I want to
So
ask ChatGPT if they know how to fix it.
I tried looking it up and it just kind of was like, hey, it's random. We don't really understand why it does that. I think it's a DaVinci bug. Um, but I refuse to give Adobe any more of my money. So we're going to have to figure out DaVinci and make it work. Because,
Is it what the video editing software?
yeah, DaVinci Resolve. Anyways, um, I now have kind of the freedom to do what I want, right? I've got my full time remote so that I can be at home and still pay my bills. That was step one. I have my office in a place that it feels good, right? I have my new lights. I have my stream set up the way I want it. I have the PC. I have a whiteboard now that I can throw all of my random thoughts on, which is a big key.
Yeah.
Because being able to throw my random thoughts at things is the better aspect. I have my bookcases so that I can kind of mangle in all of my cords for charging different things like my headphones and um my wireless mics, because this was the last piece. I just bought these. This is the last piece to my total setup that I've been missing. I just got these in yesterday and I set them up this morning with my phone.
Oh, I love it. I need you
So
to help me like figure out how to like equalize it and like do that in the app because like I'm terrible. It takes
so
so
yeah,
long for me to figure it out.
I've got vlog style mics now that I
Love
can
it.
use also for like workout
Mm-hmm.
streams and things like that when I get my gym built. The next step to like the stream improvement will be getting the gym built. That might be longer than I intended. It might not be till early next year because I just don't know with some of the random life things that have come up. I'm gonna have the funds unless my
Mm-hmm.
subathon goes really really well and people just donate like crazy. Who knows? It could happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't think I'm gonna have the funds to buy because I wanted to get the PC first. The PC was more important to me
Yeah.
than the gym setup. So
By the way, ChatGPT got your got a couple solutions for you.
they're
Four,
probably
five, six. Right.
probably solutions I've already tried. But speaking of my subathon, I do want to show this real quick. I am saving this guy for the first person to donate in the subathon because
What
he's
is it?
cute and he goes on the tree.
It's so blurry. I can't really. Is that the pumpkin or the orange?
It's the pumpkin. It's Little
It's
Boo
the
from Horror
pumpkin.
Nights. I bought him a couple years
Boo.
ago, but what I've been doing with the tree on stream is like new followers get like the smaller ornaments, like just the regular dull ornaments.
Mm-hmm.
And then new monetary gifters, whether it be subs, donos, just gifts in general,
Yeah.
get to choose one of the bigger ones. I have like lanterns and witches' hats and things like that that get added to the tree. But the Little Boo ornament is being saved for the first person to donate to the subathon, the streamaganza for my birthday. Because I hate calling it a subathon because like I'm not after money. I really want to just see how long I can get it going, right? Because the whole point of a subathon, for those who are not aware, is with each new
Get
donation.
subscribers.
Well, yes, but also with each new donation, subscriber, follower, whatever, time is added to my stream clock.
Oh.
So some people will do uncapped ones where they're going for like 2 months because there's a certain amount of time that's added for each individual thing, right? The higher the donation, the more time that's added. And then some people will do things called power hours where for an hour, like time is doubled or something like that. So I'm going to start with 12 hours and see how it goes through the weekend because obviously by Monday I have to go back to real life.
Yeah.
But if we still have a significant timer left on Sunday, I might just continue streaming every day with the timer going down. That way,
But with breaks.
well, obviously, I'm
Yeah.
obviously so Twitch has been like very clear that they don't want streamers going like 24 hours without sleeping and things like that. So they
Right.
added like a I'm just sleeping category so that people can keep their streams running and have like chat generated items like words with friends and things like that. Or like sometimes the mods of an individual channel will take over the stream and
It's the
stream for
stupidest
the
shit I've ever
streamer.
heard. The stupidest shit I've ever heard.
People do it. I saw someone literally put a camera in their bedroom. That one's weird.
That one
I
is weird.
I don't like that. That's weird.
Well,
Personally to me. But
people do that on TikTok where they're like, try to wake me
yeah,
up.
streamers will do weird things like put cameras in their bedroom, which I find weird. But I won't do that. I will cut my stream off and then just resume the timer. Because from what I've heard, leaving your stream running overnight can actually hurt your like metrics and things like that. Which, given that I do want to eventually get sponsorships and get money from that and things like that, I don't want to like. I'm not
Run
big
your
enough to
metrics.
worry about it right now, but I also don't want to fuck with it, right? If I have a really
Right.
big stream, that could really help my numbers, right? So I don't want to fuck with it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
especially right now as I'm trying to grow again. I just don't want to fuck with it. So I'll probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the timer and then resume in the morning. But I'm starting with a 12-hour plan, and then what happens from there is what happens from there. So, yay! But
Yay.
my corporate life update is that I might be changing things around. But the reality is I'm really pushing to get the fuck out by June of next year.
Good shit.
So I'm trying to do 2 long form YouTube videos a week. One of which is just going to be like playthroughs or game reviews or something like that. There's just going to be like gaming content or vlogs. I'm
Mm-hmm.
playing with what content is doing well because that is one thing I can't quite figure out. In shorts, my gaming content is doing really well,
Mm-hmm.
but in long form, it might just be my tags and thumbnails and things like that because YouTube is very particular about those things. And I'm slowly figuring it out, but not quite there yet.
Yeah.
So I want to start double posting to the short, like the vertical platforms, so that I have like a game and a fitness, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the gaming content all comes from my streams, right? I can just clip it and use that kind of stuff, or like funny gamer memes or something like that. That
Mm-hmm.
content's not super hard to deal with,
No?
and it keeps me afloat when I don't want to think because it's
Okay.
pretty easy.
That's fair.
um for October, I do want to get back into cosplay stuff too. I just got my wig for Beetlejuice. I was gonna do it
Also
this
the
morning.
movie.
Well, the movie releases like
Today.
today,
Today.
but I had to go get my back cracked this morning, so I was not about to
Oh.
go walk into the chiropractor with Beetlejuice face paint. That did not sound like a good idea, and there was not enough time between the two events
That would have been
to
hilarious.
get into Beetlejuice. So
Mm-mm.
I have my wig now, so I will be doing that in future episodes
I
just for fun.
I need to look at Beetlejuice and try to, cause like I think I have stuff where I could do like a
You definitely have
Beetlejuice
a wig that you
adjacent.
could probably do Lydia, I think.
So I also have striped pants.
Or that. But I want to get back into obviously I'm going to have to start making my MegaCon cosplays soon, figuring out what I want to do for that. I'm so reluctant to do that though
Mm-hmm.
because right, I'm going to have to make pants. If I do Fizz the way I want to do Fizz, I'm going to have to make pants and they might not fit me by February if I make them now.
Yes.
That is the problem with cos making is if I try to start too early,
Can you like hem it?
I'm more worried about inches not fitting, right? I would have to seam rip and pull them in. So
Yeah.
unless I figure out the way that they used to be able to do it with like the jeans where you could like put little tabs on the inside to pull them in,
Mm-hmm.
or if I wanted to be extra comfy cozy, which I might, I could make them elastic at the top. Because if they're big on my legs, I don't care. It's more my waist falling down scenario that I don't want to happen if I'm going to be wearing this around a con.
Yeah.
That cosplay also has suspenders, so I could use those kind of
Get
as
away
a
with it.
cheat code
Yes.
to keep them up.
Yes.
But it's the same with like if I remake my cherry bomb jacket because that thing is a hot mess, so I would
Uh-huh.
redo it,
Mm-hmm.
obviously. Um the fit on this area will be completely different if I start it now versus February.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to be careful with certain pieces to not start it till closer to MegaCon in February.
Makes sense.
But I want to start making those and figuring out fabrics and stuff like that. Because I was going like cheap Hobby Lobby fabrics when I was making them weekly just to kind of get sewing techniques down and things like that. But
Mm-hmm.
for an actual con, I
Now,
gotta put
question:
this shit together appropriately.
are you booking a hotel right next to it?
I am thinking about it, but I'm also kind of not thinking about it because
If I wanted to go to con with you, do you want to split a hotel room?
I mean, yeah, sure. uh,
To make it cheaper, at least.
yeah, it's more just like it's not that far. So if I stay, it'll only be
Huh.
for like one day. It won't be for all 4 days of the con
Oh, got it.
because it is a 4 day con. So I don't really want to
Yeah.
stay
Oh, 4 days. No.
4 days. But uh, yeah, my work update is not really an update. My bone to pick was just me kind of being silly. I
You
am
just
at
want
a
to complain
place
about something.
now. I just don't get it. I don't understand people who would willingly take time out of their day
I don't either, but I
while
leave them be.
physically at work to not do work.
I don't know, but I leave them be.
Because, like, why would you want to be there that long? That's my thought process. Like, I don't even like taking lunches when I'm on site because I don't, right? I don't like being there any later than I have to be.
Exactly.
So I never have though. Even when I was like, even before the remote scenario where we could kind of split our days, I was never one of those people that went and like got lunch and sat down and hung out down there. I was always working at my desk or and that
Still
implied I
that too.
actually had time to eat, which most
No.
days back then I
Mm-mm.
didn't. So,
I was gonna say, like, I don't ever have time to eat. There's like meetings back to back. There's
yeah.
no time. People eat in meetings. People don't take lunch.
I it was always weird. I don't love eating in front of other people.
I
I
don't
don't
either. It's a big
love
weird thing for
having the
me, but
potential of someone asking me a question while I have a mouthful of food either.
oh, I just get mad at them. I'm like, you saw me eat a bite and then you ask me a question. That's very rude of you. Like
Yeah,
and then they laugh. Like
I
it's
don't love
funny.
that. I
No, I
don't
don't
love
like it
that.
either, but that I call them out for it. I'm like, why would you do that to me?
I've also been like in a test environment a lot of my career at this point, so I
Where you can't
couldn't
have
have
food in there.
food. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could barely have water, so like hydrating as a
No.
normal human was difficult on some days.
God damn. Yeah. I carry my lunch bag everywhere because I have to eat little bits at a time.
No, that's exactly why I got my backpack cooler
Yeah,
because
so
I
you can
was
like
never
carry it
in
around.
one location. And if I
Yeah,
would try to
always
like leave it at my desk, I would never eat because it was never there.
exactly. Yes. So it goes
No, that's why
everywhere
I
with
got
me.
that's exactly why I got my backpack cooler.
I think I want that. Do they come in smaller sizes, the backpack
Yeah,
coolers?
they come in small. I think well, actually they might have the bennies, but like the way that
Not
backpack
minis.
is,
I just
right?
want like
So
not huge like yours. Yours
mine's not that big.
is big to me.
So if you don't need like the actual cooler component, you could just get one of their smaller backpacks, right? And then just stick
No, I need the
snacks in a
cooler.
pocket.
I need the
So the
cooler part.
reason the cooler piece is so big is because it stacks 3 containers.
Yeah.
So it comes with the containers and you can put whatever you need to in the containers. And then like the ice pack that comes with it is like a 12-hour ice pack or whatever. But I don't think because of the way the containers are built, they can. I could be wrong. They could have smaller ones than what I bought, but I haven't looked to be honest. Because I needed the bigger one for my laptop at the time too.
I
Because
don't
I
need it.
had,
I'll deal with my lunchbox purse.
um, yeah, I needed the bigger one for how big my laptop was. Because the smaller
Yeah.
one was too small for
She had the
the
engineering
size
laptop,
of
right?
laptop I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, based on the size of my laptop, I couldn't even fit it in the smaller one, I don't think.
I miss my engineering laptop.
I also was using it as like a dual gym bag too, so I had a whole pocket dedicated to putting like gym clothes or change of clothes too.
Yeah.
So,
You're
the
right.
bigger one was necessary cuz I was switching out. I was basically switching out having to carry like 3 bags, so like my lunchbox, my
Down to
work bag,
one.
and my duffel down to
S-
1.
Yeah.
So it was worth it to me to get the bigger one. Also, it tends to evenly distribute weight a little bit better that way when they're bigger like that. But
Yeah.
um uh, life is lifing right now. And
Life is lifing.
I have become friends with 3 a.m. again, which is both awesome and not awesome at the same time.
No.
I again, many reasons why I want to leave corporate America. I don't mind being friends with 3 a.m. I mind being friends with 3 a.m. and having to deal with people at 9 a.m.
Yes.
That's where my issue lies. Like, I could easily start my day at 10 a.m. and no one, like, I don't care because I'm going to be up till 3 a.m. anyways.
That's why you're like on later and I see you like green at like 7, 8 p.m.
Yeah, because, well, I've been on like 2 days a week because I've been working 12s. So
Oh,
I don't like working on Thursdays anymore, I've decided. So I've been working 12s. Um there's that,
impressive.
which causes me to be later, and then I've been trying to figure out my stream time,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been streaming from 3 to 5 and then coming back and finishing my hours after that.
Yeah. Okay, I figured.
So that's something
You
to do
just,
with my little bit later times too.
I don't know why I'm not getting your stream notifications. Is it maybe because like I haven't been on Twitch in a while? I don't know.
I never get them, truthfully.
I never get them either.
Even for people I follow and things like that, like I never get notifications for Twitch, which is why I just kind of hover on the website occasionally
Is it
to
because I'm
see
not
who's on.
subscribed? It's hard to,
No, you should be able to get it as long as you follow me, which I know you do. It's just
yeah.
Twitch is being weird. Like I have had 0 engagement on my notifications sent to my followers as of late, and I think that's because Twitch isn't really sending them. Like they're not populating the app side.
This is live
So
notifications.
I think the
Yeah.
people with live notifications have to have the email for live notifications to even get anything because the app
Mm-hmm.
side's not giving me anything either.
Mm-mm.
It's very strange. And that's why a lot of people have Discords and like self promo channels for people because that's the only way that people get notification that people are going live is the Discord. But I'm not tagging everybody because I think at everyoneing is
My
annoying.
email live wasn't on, by the way, so I got that.
So I am funny about tagging at everyone when I go live and things like that because I'm in
Mm-hmm.
servers that do that and it clutters up my Discord notifications a lot. So I don't love having to turn that off for
Can't you
everybody's
like mute?
Discords.
You
You
can't
can
mute.
mute Discords and mute channels and things like that. But that's what I'm saying. I don't love having to do that individually, and I know other people don't. So I try not to add everyone in my Discord, especially as I'm growing the Discord, right? I want to make it
Mm-hmm.
bigger. So think about adding 200 people as it gets to that size. How many people are going to be
Mm-hmm.
pissed off that they just got a notification that I'm just going live because they're at work or whatever? It's one of those things that I'm kind of funny about it. But as I get closer to like pushing for partner on Twitch or YouTube, either one, I will probably start doing it for like new videos and new streams and things like that, just because I'll
Mm-hmm.
be close for that push, right? The more eyeballs I get on things, the better at that point. But this is just where my brain lives. I'm constantly thinking about metrics and speeds and how best can I create content and wanting to play Among Us lobbies with people but not being social.
Well, you said you wanted to play with me. I want to play.
And I want to play with my husband too, but he's never home. Because
Boo.
I think playing Among Us with my husband would actually be really funny. It
Yes,
would
it
be
would.
great content because he is just chaos in.
He's a hoot.
Yes. He said he would. I just have to like, get him home at a time that
Mm.
is
Mm-hmm.
regular for people. So
Yeah.
it's an interesting time right now to push to kind of get out of corporate life because I recognize that people aren't spending money due to the state of the world and things like that. However, when it comes to social media growth, you can rely a lot on things like sponsorships if you grow it, as well as obviously I run a fitness business. I want to bring in clients, and that's kind of where like the giveaway I'm doing is a part of the subathon. Right? I'm doing
Mhm.
a scholarship run again. I haven't done one in probably a year now. 2 years possibly.
Mhm.
So that will bring in at least one new client for like word of mouth, but as well as scholarships have a habit of everyone who applied then will get like discounted services as like a partial kind of thing. And that can kind of bring in new people as well. So I'm trying to be as consistent as humanly possible between now and the end of the month so that I do get that attention on the subathon for that specific component for
Mhm.
the scholarship, right? I don't really care if I go for 4 days on the subathon piece. However, I do want people to participate in the scholarship. So,
Yes.
and I'm going to be like giving away things in the Discord over the next month because I have like a sleep guide that I meant to put out a couple weeks ago and never did.
Bruh.
I have another like ultimate guide that's like from step 1 to basically your first couple weeks of trying to train and things like that that I have to finish putting together, but I do plan on putting out in the Discord. I have like assessments, like nutrition assessments and things like that to kind of help tailor advice. That are all going to be like free giveaways in the Discord over the next month because I have them and I might as well and kind of finish out
Yeah.
this quarter going into the end of the year with the holidays and Black Friday and everything else
Mhm.
so that we're good to go, right? I could cap out my 1-to-1 with the subathon alone with the attention, right? If I'm looking at who generally is commenting and interacting with my content, specifically on TikTok, if I converted probably half of that, I would cap out.
Yeah.
So
That'd be. Ooh.
that's
Ooh.
statistics, but that's not always reality.
Okay.
It is what it is. That's just me getting into the weeds of things, I think, at this point. I am excited for things. And the thing is because life is lifing, I have a lot more
Mhm.
time on my hands.
That's usually not the way life works sometimes.
Well, uh, without digging too much into my personal life, I have a lot more time on my hands because I'm alone a lot more.
Mhm.
So being friends with 3 a.m. is less of a problem
Yes.
because no one else has to wake up at 5 a.m.
Yes.
Around me, which I'm not like, right. I don't want it to sound like I'm happy to like be friends with 3 a.m. and be in my bed alone because I'm not. But I understand. Like I knew it was inevitable. Having like this is why I've been working to be full time remote and be mobile and things like that because I knew this shit was going to start happening eventually, right?
Mhm.
I knew that when I got into my marriage 7 years ago,
Mhm.
that it was just the nature of his job.
Mhm.
So that I mean that is the biggest reason this push is so important to me is I want to be able to be wherever I
Mhm.
need to be and not care.
Mobile.
But mobile at this point could mean more than just the states.
Yeah, that's
And
fine.
I want to be wherever I need to be, you know?
That'd be fine.
So,
I want to be where
where
the
the
people
people
aren't.
aren't. um there is a the world is changing
Yeah.
and I don't know, good, bad, or indifferent. It's changing, and we have to either adapt or get left behind. The same is said in corporate world right now. Everything is changing so fast that if you
Mhm.
don't adapt, you're probably not going to be able to make it. And
Nope.
it's difficult with the older generation right now that doesn't understand how fast we need to be moving.
Yeah, no, they're so used. They move so slow. Oh my God, they're so slow.
They also don't understand why employees aren't loyal anymore, which is just humorous to me because they've
You don't
ripped
pay us enough.
everything. Well, it's not even just that. Like, they ripped all of the benefits of being loyal. Like, there's
Yeah.
no such thing as pensions anymore. There's no such thing as, like, even, right? It takes you 10 years at most companies to get any sort of bump in how much PTO you gain. And that bump's not that different.
Mm-mm.
You don't really start to see the big difference until you've worked for a place for like 20, 25 years. And at a certain point, you can kind of negotiate with new companies to be like, hey, can you match what I was making before? Like, I know I'm a new employee, but this is what I was getting before. Can you match that? And they usually are pretty okay with that.
Yeah.
So the loyalty aspect of companies has completely gone out the window. And until they change that culture thing we were talking about, right? They want to create a culture around companies. But the problem is the culture sucks.
Culture does suck. It's, it's they say it's inclusive,
Inclusive.
inclusive. It's exclusive. Because
Uh,
you have to be a good social butterfly, or if you're like awkward or you're not like them in any way. Like I'm surrounded by dog people here and I'm a cat person. Like I like dogs. I grew up with dogs, but
That's a
I
little
own
bit of a
cats.
niche. I don't think anyone's gonna judge you because you're a cat owner versus
No. They do. Trust
they
me, they do.
do. That's funny.
Okay. At a
Although
happy hour
I have
where
heard that
everyone was
about
taking their
Colorado
dogs,
though.
I took my cats in the
I was about to
stroller.
say the brewery thing where they all take their dogs to the brewery. I've heard that
I
about
I took my
Colorado.
cats. I took my cats.
Um,
Yeah. I literally was like, I'm gonna make fun of them. I'm gonna take my cats. My cats
I
loved it.
just
They were like, chill.
I don't know. I maybe it's just I'm not made. I mean, my mom went into nursing because she doesn't like dealing with other people telling her how to do her job. So, like, she will never, and she's said this for years now, she will never go into like management at a hospital because she
Mhm.
doesn't like dealing with hospital politics. She likes treating the
Mhm.
patients, she doesn't like
Mhm.
dealing with hospital politics.
Mhm.
That's why she got away from working for hospitals for so long because the hospital politics got so bad, but then, the state politics got worse. But that's a whole different saga that I'm not going to talk about.
Mhm.
I grew up in a household like my mom, like I asked her yesterday, I was like, have I always been this like night owl creature? She's like, yes. Even as a toddler, you went to bed late. I was like, well, that explains a lot.
What was your natural clock?
I am a gremlin. I don't like daytime hours. Am I a
Mhm.
vampire?
Yes. I
um
know I am. Look at how
so
pale I am. I am the same shade as my
oh,
wall.
believe me, I know because the algorithm that I use to cut us out often confuses you and the wall. I am painfully aware that you are the same color as your wall. I have
We
literally
tried the
seen
backdrop thing and it failed
I have
miserably.
seen clips where it is just your head because you also chose to wear white shirts in some of these episodes because the algorithm gets confused and thinks it's all the same color. Oh, I am aware. Because like your setup is also really like pale pink too. So if it doesn't think you're the wall, it thinks your setup is a part of the wall and like you blend in with it. And like last week episode you started like leaned over like this so that when you came back into it it was like it was a nightmare.
Sorry.
And then like for some
I don't know what
reason
to do.
you have, and I don't notice it when we're recording, but every time we edit there's this like dark spot on your forehead. I think it's like your hairline like right here when you wear the caps. it wants to cut out like a random piece of your forehead all the time, and it's
Oh,
annoying as
no.
shit.
Cool. Great.
It doesn't like your arm either.
No.
Like that's yeah, it's that arm. Like I don't know.
It's this arm. Is it because like the tattoo's on here and it's like more hidden,
Yeah,
whereas like this one
maybe.
has a tattoo?
I don't know what it is. But last week's episode for me, it was because I had black, like I had the red and then I had black sleeves. So it thought my arm was blending in with my black armchair rest. So it would like cut out my one arm. For the most
Whatever.
part, it is really good, but like in the middle, it will do really stupid shit sometimes, and I'll catch it while it's processing, and I'm like, oh god, now I gotta fix this. Or like every time I bring my can in, it will just then be floating off to the side, and I have to go fix it.
That's hilarious.
If it was reversed, like if I was reversed, right, this guy was coming out of this like this side, it would be fine because my can would be like off the edge and it wouldn't matter.
Right.
But because of where I put my can, it would just be like floating in between us.
Oh.
And then I tried to reverse you last week to make it. I don't know. It was a weird
The
thing.
mic, the what? Like the mics were like that?
Yeah. Are we backwards again this week? I just realized that.
I don't know.
One week we both had our mics coming into the center. You moved your mic, I think, because the one that I posted, our mics were coming in. I'll have to see. I think maybe it's the way I flipped. Anyways, that's not important. I'm going on a random tangent about editing at this point. Because you said you're the same color as the wall, and yes. Yes, you are, because I have seen floating t-shirts, I've seen floating heads, because it cuts out all the rest of you. Yes, you are the same color as your wall. And if I chroma key, it's even worse. So I have to
Well,
use the
thank you.
mask out.
Thank you
Um
for noticing. Thank you for validating me. I knew it. Pale as fuck.
I
I feel like it's only gotten worse now that I'm in like Colorado.
it probably has. But I don't know, y'all. I am starting my first game mod. That's also something that's fun. I want to talk
Good.
about that next week though, because I keep talking
Yes.
about it and then I keep not talking about it.
We gotta save it because we're already at like 2 hours
It's
right now.
already too long. Yeah.
I gotta go potty.
Yeah. I am gonna start my first Beat Saber map.
Hell yeah.
I don't know what
What
song I'm
song?
gonna use. I don't know
Uh,
yet. I have to like figure out how to do it all, right? I
It's
also
that me
might
espresso.
have to buy the game again, which will suck. Because
Oh,
that'll be
what?
the third time I've bought this game.
Why?
So I can load mods onto the MetaQuest version of the game, but I don't think I can mod the game myself with the MetaQuest version of the game, if that makes sense. Because I don't have all the files on my computer, right? I can create my own, like I can generate my own files, but loading them into the game and testing them and things like that, I think I have to have the Steam version of the game in order to really edit
Oh,
it and
I didn't
play
realize there
around
was
with
a
it.
Steam version.
Yeah, so that's why I said this would be the third time I've bought the version of the game, because I bought it
Got it.
for PlayStation and now I bought it for Quest and now I'll buy it again for Steam more than likely so that I can mod it.
Makes sense.
Um that's the same thing with Kingdom Hearts, right? I've seen a lot of people do randomizers for Kingdom Hearts, which sounds really fun, but I would have to buy the whole series again on Steam in order to run those randomizers.
What's a randomizer? I
Randomizers
understand the concept, but like
are
specifically, what are they randomizing?
they're game mods so that the stuff you get in like chests or as achievements and things like that aren't in order. So if you open a chest in World 1 of Kingdom Hearts, you might be getting something you need, like a kingdom key or something that you would get from a boss fight normally in like World 7.
Okay, but what if that fucks you over? Like solitaire.
That's the fun of randomizers, is it could completely
Okay,
fuck you over. And a lot of people will
got it.
run randomizers simultaneously with someone else. So there's this thing called archipelago randomizers where someone else is running like Sonic while someone's running Kingdom Hearts. So the items someone finds in Sonic will be Kingdom Hearts items that then in theory could help the person running Kingdom Hearts, but could also just totally screw them over.
This
And
hurts
vice
my brain.
versa. The items you find in Kingdom Hearts will then give the person playing Sonic whatever they need or don't need.
That hurts my brain.
Some people will do it with the same game, so that's just item to item, but some people will run different games.
Hurts
And
my brain.
usually people will run races with randomizers, right? First to the finish.
I'm just gonna say okay so that we can move on. Cause like I'm never gonna understand.
I also kind of want to learn how to speedrun too, some of my favorite games, because that just sounds like fun. Which also usually involves some sort of mod to like cut out cutscenes and things like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, someone took, and this is just really cool, someone took Super Mario Odyssey, which is not a multiplayer game, and created an online multiplayer platform for it. So,
That's cool though. I love multiplayer platforms. My
and
preferred
that's
method of
how a
playing
lot
games.
of, there's a stream group that plays Super Mario Odyssey, and they play a game called Hide and Seek
Oh,
inside of Super Mario Odyssey. So they'll go like hide from each other, and like there's a whole game mod specifically to play hide and seek. And now
there's
they've
my
turned it
Gary.
into prop hunt too.
I love that. Gary's motto is my favorite. Growing up, well, next to Minecraft, obviously.
Well, that's
Um,
another game that has a lot of
I would
mods.
mod Minecraft too. I learned
Minecraft
how to
has a lot
do
of
that.
mods. Skyrim has a lot of mods. Skyrim's is mostly like texture mods and stuff like that, though. Same with
Yeah.
Minecraft. It's a
Well,
lot of visual, not
no,
necessarily
they
gameplay.
had technical kits where you could build queries. They had like so many more capabilities.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, that's why people buy like Steam versions of the game versus like console, even if they do play with controller, even
Yeah. You could do
because
more stuff.
of the capability to mod it for different reasons.
hmm Once it
And
became too complicated to mod it though, where I couldn't just go to forums and do a free download and it was like easy, now it's a little bit it hurts my brain.
well, that's
And then hosting
fine.
servers, that was really hard to figure out and I was successful maybe like once or twice.
It's not that hard. Anyways, that's kind of what I want to do. I want to create game mods, new maps for Beat Saber. I might start with like a Has Been Hotel or a Hell of a Boss song that hasn't been mapped already.
Oh, that's
Um,
fun.
just because there's a few that haven't been mapped. I have most of them
Fuck
already, but
you. That
that
one.
one hasn't been mapped. So that was
Do
one
it.
that I was thinking, or at least last I checked, it hadn't been mapped. Um, that was one of the ones that I wanted to start with. I wanted to start with Beat Saber because I wanted to create maps for a really long time.
Mhm.
Um, but then I also want to get into maybe modding Kingdom Hearts or modding. I don't really want to do Switch games because a lot of people, there's a huge Switch modding community, but also it's a pain in the ass. Um, because you have
Fair.
to like crack your Switch and shit like that.
Uh-uh. I wouldn't no.
I want to do that so I can play some of the mods. Um, but I
I'd
don't
be too scared.
want to. Well, the Switch 2 is about to come out, so if I crack my ancient S
I guess that's fine, yeah.
Switch with some modding tools, it's not that big of a deal. I used to have a jailbroken iPhone. Like, I've been doing this shit since I was in elementary
I've been
school.
I've been voiding my warranties since like 2.
I don't even remember what I jailbroke my iPhone for. There was like a purpose that I needed to jailbreak it for. That I had to have that feature because I was missing out on it versus like other phones or something. So I
I
jailbroke
don't
it
know.
and I did it. I think it was like custom wallpapers or something stupid like that. So I went through the effort of jailbreaking it, and I partially just did it because it was fun and I wanted to do it. Sometimes
Mhm.
it's just the challenge.
And when you jailbreak it, do you lose all your capability to connect to the cell service?
No. The only issue with jailbreaking, at least back then, there's no really reason to jailbreak iPhones now anymore. So there was two
Mm.
reasons to jailbreak back in the day. Added features, right? There were some like missing features that smartphones usually had to early iPhones, right? Changing your backgrounds, changing your icons, whatever. And other people would jailbreak back in the day for international use, right? You couldn't take an iPhone out of like US territory and use it internationally without it being jailbroken.
Oh.
Because at the time it was only owned by AT&T, so you couldn't put other like SIM cards or anything like that in it. It just wouldn't work.
Oh. Oh.
So that was the other reason a lot of people would jailbreak back then, was
Okay.
international use. The issue with jailbreaking, and it's the same with game mods, is every time the game version updates, or the software version in the case of iPhones, until the jailbreak has been redone or the mod has been redone and updated to that new version, you can't update. So a lot of times with jailbreaks, you just would never update your software because the jailbreak wouldn't get redone. Because you basically have to factory reset your phone to re-jailbreak it.
Yeah.
However, back then,
Fuck that.
software updates weren't as frequent as they are now. So,
Yeah, no.
but even with Beat Saber, right? Every time they release a new song pack, every time they release a new patch, the core mods that people use to get like custom songs or anything like that have to be redone. So you're
Mm.
usually a version or two behind with if you're using a modded game because of that.
Okay.
It's
Which
the
is fine.
same It's the same with Among Us, right? There's a modding community for Among Us right now that has a bunch of different features and things like that. That mod is probably missing a few maps or new community things that Among Us is probably. I'm not 100% on that, but if they
Mm-hmm.
don't keep up with the game revs, you're not going to be able to update your game and still run the mods.
Right.
So, and it's the same thing with
Yay.
speed running and like Super Mario Odyssey or other like there are glitches in some versions of games that make speed running easier.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to like the speedrun stats that they keep track of and world records and things like that, they document what version you ran it on because of glitches that you can like uh go in
Fix
and
it.
out of bounds and things like that.
Oh.
Because you can exploit glitches to make your speed or your run faster.
Dope.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so that is all for this week. If you need help with your health and fitness help because my brain is broken right now, reach out to me at It's Coach KC. DMs are always open. And if you want to follow us along on this journey as we continue to grow this podcast, words are hard. Uh
The Toddcast.
and find our little kind of niche of the internet, which I think we are finding. Because ironically enough, some of our episodes recently, like the ones about politics, did really well. Don't ask me
Oh
why, but they
God.
did. Um,
Gross.
I think
Okay.
it's just because we're talking about popular topics, right? If we
Yeah.
when we talked about the one thing
The
that was going
lady.
around TikTok about the VP that lost a job because of no makeup,
That
that
one.
that kind of
Yeah,
thing,
yeah, yeah.
that did really well too. So there are
Mm-hmm.
scenarios that I think if we catch them, that we can talk about. Um,
Yeah.
we just have to catch them in real time and not wait 5 weeks to edit them.
Whoop.
Anyways, that is all for this week. You can find us at Engineering Chaos Pod on all of the things, and we will be back with more short form versions of our content and the actual long form now that I'm figuring out the rhythm and have multiple computers to process things. And we're getting there. Slowly
Getting
but
there.
surely, we are rebranding and having fun with it and everything. Yeah, but that is all. So, goodbye.